This is the political perspective. Just remember, if you ain't political, you do not have a perspective.
I'm gonna get out your way and just ask questions that I think we would have as an audience. Let's go. What we got?
So, first thing I want to talk about is I know there's been a lot of Epstein news. Nothing really new, so I kind of want to stay away from that for a little while until we get some real kind of traction with Epstein. But what I want to talk about is there was a Senate panel voted to stop lawmakers from trading stock. So there was an 8-7 Senate panel that was passed to limit or eliminate Congress having the ability to buy and trade stocks while they are in Congress. One of the kind of complaints is that these congressmen and women have insider information that they can use in order to enrich themselves because they're getting information that the general public does not have knowledge
Doesn't
of.
have.
And
Right.
and in normal cases, it's called insider trading. And there are severe penalties, even jail sentence. We all remember Martha Stewart, of all people going to prison, for her insider trading scandal. So, um, so it was voted to put a ban on lawmakers having the ability to buy and sell stocks while they are in office. But what's interesting about this is the bill was originally called the Pelosi Bill. And if you know
Hmm.
anything about politics, Nancy Pelosi was the former Speaker of the House for the Democrats, first woman Speaker of the House, and she's notoriously been kind of criticized for the amount of money that she's made. That's the amount of money that her family has made through the stock market. Most notably, her husband. Like they made millions and millions and millions of dollars in the stock market, and it's been something that Donald Trump has like campaigned for to be able to eliminate this, right? And it's something that just in a way to kind of take a dig at Democrats, they actually named the bill after her, which is just kind of like insulting, right?
Yeah.
Because she's not doing anything illegal. Definitely, I definitely would think it's unethical and kind of ugly to be profiting off of your position. However, what's interesting is it was an 8-7 vote just to be able to hear this bill. Now, the 7 that voted against it were all Republicans that
Interesting.
did not see any issue with having the ability to trade stocks and to own stocks while you're in office. Now, Donald Trump, who famously has been, trashing Nancy Pelosi for this, is now against this because within the bill specifically had a carve out just um for president and vice president, meaning that no one else in office will be able to trade except for the president and vice president. So initially, Trump felt like he should be able to trade
Yeah.
and he's cool with no one else being able to trade.
Yeah. Let me
But
ask
once
you
he starts
though.
talking about me not being able to trade, oh no, now I got a problem with it. So I think it's just interesting how, when we think of like the other side, if you're a Democrat or Republican, like the other side being like morally inept. And it's like a lot of times it's both sides. And a lot of times it is what is the most advantageous that you can do at that moment. So Trump actually was trashing his some of the only Republican that actually voted for the bill. He was trashing him because the bill would actually limit the president and the vice president. So there is talks of it being able to for them to be exempt or for it to only affect future presidents and vice presidents. But it kind of just reminds you of like kind of like the ugliness of politics and how
Yeah.
much money is really wrapped into politics that
Hmm.
makes you kind of it just kind of gives you a pause, but lets you know that um the rules that we follow here as regular citizens are not the rules that these lawmakers follow. It's actually quite ridiculous when you see it.
They really are two
Next thing,
birds of the same plane.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. The next thing is Trump on his Truth Social account. He called for our queen Beyonce to be locked up, right? So he wrote on his Truth Social account that Beyonce, Oprah, um, Al Sharpton all need to be arrested because apparently he is saying that they received money for their endorsements during the Kamala Harris campaign. Now,
Uh,
this is clearly and obviously a distraction from what the president is dealing with these Epstein files. However, he is making these kind of false claims that Beyonce was paid $11 million, to be endorsed, to give her endorsement to
mhm.
Kamala Harris, which it's been researched and reported on that Beyonce was not paid. Um,
Yes.
Obviously, 11 million. She wasn't paid. Apparently, she was paid something I think of 165,000 just for her production team and just her overall team to kind of coordinate with security and all of these things for her to make an appearance. But this number of $11 million and this accusation of receiving this money for for an endorsement has been reported on it is false, but Trump makes no Trump doesn't care if something is false or not.
Mhm.
He just puts it out here to his base so his base can get riled up and think, well, maybe this is something that's happened. Maybe they're
Yeah.
trying to hide it. And just for the record, it's not actually illegal, which is kind of crazy that it's not, but it's not illegal for anyone to pay for somebody's vote or somebody's endorsement. The only thing is it has to be declared, on your campaign finance declaration that you gave this person this money for whatever it's for. As long as you report it, it's actually legal. Like you can legally buy votes as long as it's reported. That's one of the
I
reasons
have a
why Elon
question.
Musk was able to put. I want to put a button on this. That's one
Okay.
of the reasons why you hear this number of Elon Musk put all of this money into Trump's campaign, hundreds of millions of dollars. So it's kind of like when you think about it, it really doesn't make much sense that someone like Elon Musk could put all this money into campaigns. But the reason why he's able to do this is because the campaigns are declaring that this money is being received by them.
Mhm. My question is, why do the candidates raise so much money? And when we see commercials, the at the end of the commercial, it's a disclaimer. This commercial is a paid advertisement for Republicans, for Trump, or whatever. Blah blah blah. Um, why can't they pay Beyonce or Cardi B or whoever the hell as an endorser? What is
I mean,
the
yeah, they
moral
can.
or legal reason why they can't?
No, they actually can, as long as they declare that they are paying this person. So
Okay.
you can pay for somebody's endorsement. So what the point that Trump is trying to make, that I believe he's trying to make, is to kind of say that um, Kamala Harris is so inept that she has to pay for people to support her. I think that's the point that he's saying. That her support, that these famous people, these celebrities that did support her, only supported her because they were being paid. That
Hmm.
she is such a terrible politician and a terrible person that
Got it.
nobody's going
Got
to
it.
support her on the merit. So that I think that's the point that he's saying is that's the only way that people will support her
So he
is
was
if
just
they're
being
paid
petty.
millions and millions. Yeah, he's just being an ass.
He's on
Yeah,
some petty
just being
shit.
an ass. But just putting that narrative out there, his folks understand what that means.
Got it.
Um, last thing I want to talk about is kind of like some world politics, which has to do with Israel and Palestine. Um,
Yes.
so so the Trump administration right now is kind of upset at a couple of countries, the UK, France, and Canada, that is really contemplating recognizing Palestine as a state. So in order for countries to kind of become legitimate, is other major countries have to kind of recognize them and recognize their territory and recognize their borders
Mm-hmm.
as making them a sovereign nation. And this this kind of idea that these countries would recognize Palestine as a sovereign nation means that means that if you're a sovereign nation, then you have the ability to protect your borders. You have the ability to keep people out of your country. And right now, Palestine is really 100% controlled by Israel. So
Mm-hmm.
if you've heard anything on the news about the starvation in Palestine because Israel will not allow food to get in, and
Mm-hmm.
when you hear about hundreds of people that are dying from starvation, you think that the war is pretty much the fighting between soldiers on Israel's side and on the Hamas Palestine side is pretty much over. You don't really hear about too many people that are dying in conflict. What you hear now is people are dying waiting to get food. People are getting shot in lines that are serving water and in lines that are serving soup. And it kind of like speaks to like the humanitarian crisis that is over there in Gaza. So
Yes.
a lot of countries, most countries, don't recognize Palestine as being a sovereign nation, and with the UK and France and Canada really contemplating recognizing them is really another step towards what's called a two-state solution, meaning that Israel has their land and Palestine has their land, and it is like some type of mutual respect for their borders. Right now, there is no respect for Palestine's borders. They're air quote on paper, but Israel kind of violates their borders at will. And this is what's been going on in this region for really upwards of 60 years. But now it looks like because of this war, I think people are starting to kind of wake up to what's actually happening over there
Mm-hmm.
and start to kind of support Palestine's push towards being a sovereign nation, mm, obviously not supporting their terrorist regime, their terrorist acts, but kind of recognizing that these acts are in response to how they have been treated by Israel for 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years.
Yeah.
So the United States is upset because we are on paper an ally of Israel. We support them. I think we've given them over $300 billion towards their war in Gaza, which seemed like a ridiculous amount of money considering Gaza they don't even have like a real army. And right now, there's less fighting and just more of just making the Palestinian people suffer.
Yeah. That's
Yo,
heavy.
I
Yeah.
gotta shout out my Iraqi brother Muhammad. He wanted me to mention fuck Israel. All right. Shout out to you, Muhammad, my man from Iraq that I work with. You know what I'm saying? He wanted me to make sure I put that out there. When I
Uh,
told him that we were
definitely.
Discussing
Shout out Muhammad.
Palestine. Shout out
Yeah.
Muhammad.
I mean, I want to, if I can, real quick. I mean, and this is not really a fuck Israel moment. I do agree with the fuck Israel moment, but this is like, the Columbia University just settled a lawsuit with the federal government.
Yes.
They just
I
paid
was
$221 million to the federal government, a large fine,
Oh
and
shit.
pretty much it was done in order to resolve some alleged like civil rights violation against Jewish people, right? Against Jewish employees, against Jewish students, a bunch of students that participated in pro-Palestinian demonstrations have been kicked out of school. They're not going to receive their diplomas. They're not going to receive their degrees. But the first thing I thought about, right, is Black people been getting kicked in the head for hundreds of years, right? And if you say the word reparation, people get in their fucking feelings, right?
Mm-hmm.
However, it was one summer of protests. And there are students that are getting $50,000, $100,000 because they were, air quote, their civil rights were being violated.
Mm-hmm.
It's insane when you think about it. It's insane when you think about it. And like I said, when you say the word reparations, technically, winning of a lawsuit is reparations. Reparations is the act of repairing a wrong. So they're giving all of this money for, and I'm not belittling, their experience as Jewish students. That from what I can see, that there were some issues that the schools did not respond, properly when these things were happening. I think it was very organic and very difficult to kind of even respond. I think that sometimes when it's the first that something that's ever happened, sometimes you're like, you don't really know what to do, right? So I don't think that the school did anything egregious or anything purposefully wrong. But I have to go back and think about the kids in Arkansas that needed the fucking National Guard to go to elementary school.
Yeah.
Right? Where's their fucking check? Like, and we talking about motherfuckers was getting killed.
Yeah.
I don't think nobody died. Right? But when it comes to black people and we saying we owed something, it's on deaf ears. But
Reggie,
yes.
just a question for you. And I know you're buttoning up the political perspective, but since you mentioned the reparations, and I know that there was talk about the releasing of the Martin Luther King files, and they were talking about his plans for reparations for Black people. Do you believe that he was killed as a result of that?
I think it's probably one of the reasons why. I think that Martin Luther King, during the time of his death, he was starting something called the Poor People's Campaign, and that was more of a socialist type of approach to the country, right? Meaning that people need to have enough money to get some basic shit, right? And the first people in line is Black people, right? But more so, people in this great country that we have, it shouldn't be poor. It shouldn't be poor people in this country that we got, right? We burn food because our technology is so great. We grow more food than we can ever eat, and we pay farmers not to grow food. Like this, like the country, it's crazy when you think about it, right? We pay farmers not to farm because the technology is so advanced that we can grow shit now anywhere, right? It makes you think like you live in the Twilight Zone. Like it really makes you feel like that. But yeah, Martin Luther King was pushing towards more of a socialist agenda. And if you think about it, like back then, being a socialist, being a communist, those were supporting those movements got you jailed. Like got you jailed, which I think it baffles me that just a political ideology was demonized so much because capitalism really just keeps the rich rich and the poor poor. So any distribution, any kind of fair distribution of wealth, you're going to be looked at as you're threatening the country. So, I think that it definitely had something to do with it. I think Martin Luther King is one of those people that would have had the ability to bring so many people together. And I think that type of power definitely was not going to go unchecked. Was not going to go unchecked. So I mean, I just think that when you think about how much surveillance the government had on Martin Luther King, how was he able to get assassinated? Like, I mean, they had all. I mean, look, they got files on the man. Like, if y'all was following this man so much, and y'all tapping his phone, and y'all got people, y'all done infiltrated every organization he's a part of. Y'all done infiltrate. How the hell he get assassinated? No, why y'all wasn't right there? Right? It makes you think. Was Jesse in on it? I'm not gonna say Jesse is in on it.
Let's stop right there. Because Reggie could get in his bag and get real conspiracy. Conspiracy, man. He's taking us down a rabbit hole. It's like, oh, slow down.
Yeah, I mean, but that's the same question that they asked about. But that's the same question they asked about Farrakhan. You know, when they showed a picture of Farrakhan, Elijah Muhammad, and Malcolm X, and Farrakhan's still rolling.
I know y'all watched it was on Netflix, where they interviewed the guys that were locked up for Malcolm's death.
Mm-hmm.
That was a good.
Yeah, that was good.
I learned some things in that one.
Yeah.
Thank you for watching this video. Please remember to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell.